Jer Show, Jer Show, Jer Show, Jer Show, Jer. I should compose. I feel like I should compose a new song for the Jer Show. The one that plays before the show starts is something that I did compose kind of off the cuff, so to speak. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of composers will say, "Oh, I'm going to write something," and then they get the paper out and the staff and they do it, and oh, I don't like this or I don't like that, and they change it. It's like a process. But when I did that, it was just like I was trying to figure out this recording software that I just got, and I just said, well, I need a simple theme. I need a little simple guitar, bass, and drums, no singing, and I don't know, like a lot of people that know me know that I once was a drummer. That when I was in high school, I took drums and I started out with the and the snare drum and I graduated to a drum set with the help of my late great grandfather Sonny Greenwood, who I would later name my bird after, my parakeet, who's sitting right in front of me right now. And I think back then I had the idea of what it felt like to go after something. Like I had goals, you know. They were like, "You're a drummer. Here's the songs you need to learn. Go down to the basement and do it." And I would go down and do it. And I would learn it. I would come back, and then I'd get together with the rehearsals with my grandfather, and then we would play, and then we'd go out and make some money. And, those are really good times in my life. I'll never have back again. But I can write stories about them to share with other people, right? So really this is like what my life has been all about lately, is sharing my stories with other people. I love doing it. This is why I kind of created the Jer Show, because I want to create content, and I have content from my past that I can talk about, and I also have content that I'm currently creating. Sometimes I create it right on the spot. It's called In Real Life. That's what Twitch. I didn't even know what IRL meant when I joined Twitch. What it means in real life. It means like if I slap myself in the face, which I just did, that was in real time. Real life. I didn't script it and then perform it later. It happened while we were doing this. But there are some things that I do. There is some organization in what I say, and I have to, because in the past I've been accused of like rambling and going this way and that way, and and it's because like of my social skills years ago were not that great. I've been a musician all my life, and I literally like spent long periods of time locked in a room with strings and a note, and then I would come out and play it for people, but then I would go right back into my little shell again. You know what I mean? And I had like a group of friends that I hung with regularly, but for the most part I was either by myself or with like a few people growing up. And like, thanks to Facebook, I've actually been able to reconnect with a lot of those people. And then I moved to Long Island, and I spent some time in Long Island, like a good 3 years. I played in a band, and then I came back upstate, and I did some things. I've been around. I got a lot of stories to tell about my experiences, and I think the great thing about it is a lot of the people that I did these things with maybe just don't even remember. or there's things that I did that I don't remember, and they're gonna help me fill in the blanks. So, and I'm a person just like anybody else. You know what I mean? I have good stories. I have embarrassing stories. But it's my life, like it or not. You know what I mean? So anyway, um, what I'm out of focus here. I got a camera that does this autofocus thing, and sometimes it's not great. And then I got the light coming in from the thing, and it's too bright, and I can't I can't put the curtain up to make my face look better because I got a bird and he likes the sun. There's always a design flaw. But anyway, so today, ranting and just chatting, which is what this is called, is the first thing is a kind of a positive thing. Okay, I for the longest time have, because I'm a musician and I do collect music, and over the years I've collected LPs, records, cassettes. I even have 8 tracks, for God's sake, and CDs and VCR, VHS tapes. And after many years of being like in denial of everything in me and all around me, I came to the conclusion that these formats are really not that popular. So like, why do I have them? Why do I still carry cassettes? Why do I still have records? Why? And it's because at the time it seemed like a great idea, but I never thought about, well, what's going to happen later on when these things, cassettes go bad. If you have cassettes around long enough, the tapes on the reel, they, in the heat and the moisture over the years, they will go bad. So the sound quality on those is really not that great anymore. So like, why am I keeping? Well, some of the things that I've kept are kind of like memorable to me. They bring me back to a time where maybe things were really cool in my life, or really good in my life, or bad, or whatever. So like it reminds me of that. But then there's other tapes that I've just like collected over the years that people have said, "Hey, do you want these?" And of course, at the time, I would take anything that you gave me because it was free, right? And as I get older, I have to learn to say no. Like, no, I don't have the space for that, or whatever. So now I'm faced, with dealing with these things. So I could just do a purge and just throw it all out, but I know there's something stopping me from just throwing it out, and I think what it is some of it I do want to keep, and some of it has to go. And I feel like I'm on an episode of Hoarders sometimes, where people are saying you need to throw that out, and I'm like, I don't know, it's still good, and I, and I'm actually like looking at the stuff now and saying, I got a milk crate full of cassette tapes, and I have to look at my life and where my life's going, and see if that might not be in line with where my life is going. So I was trying to come up with a way of getting rid of things in a person's life. When they get rid of things, sometimes it's hard because you feel attached to those things, but they have to go. And I have friends that are struggling really hard with this, that have gone from like 3 dumpsters to a dumpster, for real, because they've kept all this stuff and now have no place to put it, and instead of throwing it out, they still think it's going to have a purpose, so they keep it for, like, maybe someday that purpose will come. And the problem doesn't lie with the items. The problem lies up here. It's a psychological thing. So I'm like doing that lately, psychologically looking at everything in my life and saying, does this have a purpose anymore? So I'm at the point where, like, I'm realizing I'm a musician. That's it. I have been. I always will be. I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm not going to explain it to anybody anymore of why I'm doing it. And this is why I've collected music over the years, because I love the sound of it. I love what it does for me. I love the feeling that it gives me. So I'm like always afraid that if I throw out a certain piece of music, I'll be throwing out a part of me as well. When it's just a lie. They're just tapes. These things that are on these tapes, this music that's on these tapes, they can easily be played on YouTube. And that's what everybody does nowadays. They want to, not everybody, but most people, like, they want to hear something, they just pull YouTube up and they just play it. So I'm like, why, if I have YouTube, do I have copies of all these tapes and records? Some of the records are worth money. Some old records are worth lots of money if you have them. But a lot of them are just copies. And if everybody has a copy of it, it's not rare. So this is what I did. This was my, whether it's crazy or not, this was my solution to this madness, to take some of the edge off. Is I realized if anybody cleans anything in their life, they need a garbage. When you look on your computer screen and you're cleaning your computer, which I've been in the last couple of days, you have a little garbage at the bottom. It's called the recycle bin, right? You have to make something in your own life for psychological garbage and things that you keep that you don't need anymore. So an idea came to me like last week that I would create a box. I would just take an old box and call it the what the hell did I call it? The haven't used, not gonna use box, or something to that of that nature. Which means, like, if I'm saving something that maybe I feel like I'm gonna use, and I've had that for like 2 years thinking that I'm gonna use it, it needs to go in that box. So now you've put that in a section that says this might be safe to throw out because I haven't used it. I'm not going to use it. I mean, I'll give you an example. I've always loved to record. I've always been a guy that likes to come up with an idea musically and has a message, and then put the music to it, record it. But I've moved over the years, you know what I mean? So I've had old versions of software that I probably won't use again. But I keep it. And I find myself going through my stuff where I'm just like, what the hell is this? Oh shit, this is from 1996. Throw that out. And this is how I acquired all these tapes and CDs and they're just taking up space. I'm not using them. So this was my solution. I bought a mixer, a little mixer. It was probably $20. And the mixer, what it does is the computer is going to be to convert the files, the cassettes, the phonographs, the VCR tapes, convert that medium to digital, to go from audio to digital. You can't just do it. You need a converter. I have the converter machine, which I bought last year. Plug it in the computer, I think it's called VHS to DVD. I think it's called. So normally I would just hook up the VHS to that and just do my thing. But then I brought like the phonograph into the picture and the cassette thing into the picture. They're all old formats. And I was like, I don't want to keep switching between like, okay, I'm doing records today, plug that in. Oh wait, I'm doing cassettes tomorrow, plug that in. Then I'm doing the VHS the next day, plug that in. What I did is the mixer you can get 4 signal paths which convert into 1 signal path. So now if I just label, so this is what I'm doing today before I turn the Twitch stream on. I took the thing out of the package, put it on the ground. I got the VCR part hooked up to it. Now I need to find the cassette part of it and see if the cables are going to reach, and if they're not, then I have to go to the store or see if I have a cable. So then I think of like me and my friend who has the hoarding problem. Like if I really studied myself, and I'm a complicated person, okay? So what happens is like when I go to buy something, I go through this decision process. And part of me says, just go out and buy it. And the other part goes, you don't have the money. Like I'm consulting a wife or something that isn't here. Or the budget manager. And then I'll say, I don't feel like looking for a spare. I'm just going to go to the store and get another one. But the problem is, if you have a little hoarding complex, you already have another one. You just don't want to look for it. See, the reason the person saved that cable in the first place was for a day that came along where you might need another cable. Which, forget that. So now I'm in the process of looking at the back of the cassette player, seeing if I have a cable that fits with what's there. If not, then I have to go through my cables. And if you're organized like me, I have a bin full of just audio cables. Because it drives me crazy if I have to look for something long enough. Especially if I spent the time to make it organized so that I can find it easily, and then I'm having a hard time finding it. I go through the roof when that happens. Like, you have never seen anger until you've seen me looking for something for too long. You could just clear the room, just get away from me for a few minutes, because when I can't find something I'm looking for, when I know I put it someplace close where I could find it again and I don't find it again, it's a shit show. So just doing this project that I've been meaning to do for at least a couple years now, it just feels so good to actually finally be like setting it up so that I can start converting. And it doesn't even take that long to convert. It's not even that big of a deal of a process to do it. It's just getting it started. That's like what we all struggle with. It's just getting started. Not all of us, but a lot of us do. So I gotta set that up. So then I can start looking through my tapes and stuff and saying, and my records, and saying, I really like this, but I'm not willing to keep the actual copy of it. But I'm gonna make a digital copy so I can listen to it, and then maybe sell the record or throw the record out if everybody has it. And then I'm gonna scale everything down. And as far as like the VCR stuff that I have, some of it's stuff that I did when I was a teenager. I used to play in bands when I was a teenager, and I still play guitar. And I've always said I'm always going to play guitar until I can't anymore. So just to be able to look at these old versions of me, like is cool. But I want other people to see it too, and you can't if it's on that tape because I need to convert it. You know what I mean? So what I've been trying to do over the years is try to put it in some kind of like chronological order, which means like the order that it happened, or like a timeline, so to speak. And timeline has been big in my life over the last couple of years, and it really never has been. But a lot of times, if somebody's trying to, and I have to go to court next Monday for some stupid ticket that I got, and I have to create a timeline of the events to show that I'm not guilty. And it's no different like when you're going through your own stuff sometimes. It's like, okay, I was a guitar player here and through here, and I played in this band from here to here, and I want to create some kind of like a resume because I've almost forgotten all of the work that I've done musically. And lately I've been doing a lot of keyboards and learning a lot of songs and printing lyrics and going back over songs that I used to play that I haven't played in a long time, and like all these hours of working on music, I need it to pay off. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that does all this work and then like no one ever gets to hear it. You know what I mean? So I'm putting that show together for the Jer show. I'm gonna put on a music show, and I actually woke up this morning and I was listening to someone that I follow on Twitch who's a partner on Twitch. Like there's levels of Twitch. There's like when you first start and you got nobody, and then you struggle like to get viewers and whatever, and then you can graduate to what they call affiliate. That light is really bright, isn't it? So I've been trying for this affiliate thing since last November. Playing Fortnite, playing Rocket League, playing music. I've met new friends. I just got a new follower last night. I'm probably like 130 viewers, but it hasn't really like taken off like I would like it to, and I realize it's gonna take some time. So I calmed down on that. You know what I mean? As like, why me? You know, why isn't the show doing well? Why is it? And I realized like I got to put more work into it before I start expecting that I'm gonna get more results out of it. This is a personal thing that I'm going through. Like you don't automatically just get stuff in life. That's called entitlement, and I don't want to suffer from that. I'd rather know that, you know, just like me back in the basement with the tapes and the drumsticks, like this is gonna be a thing I gotta work for, and it's not just gonna happen when I want it to. I'm just to keep at it. Just gotta grind, keep at it. That's what I've been doing lately. Just grinding and grinding. And so once I get that mixer thing set up and I start getting rid of some of this clutter in my life, I think I'm going to feel a little bit more calm and at peace and be able to focus more. So the last 2 days, I've done nothing but research music software. Because just like when I opened the show and I talked about the song that I created for the show, I don't have that software anymore. And it was really easy to use, which is one of the key factors that I keep in mind when I go to decide on a software, what they call DAWs. It's a digital audio workstation, or DAW. And I want a good DAW. I don't want a free one. I know a lot of people are going to say, why don't you just get GarageBand? Well, I don't have a Mac, and it only works on Windows. And I had BandLab from Cakewalk. It was pretty good. It really was. But it's free. And I could just do it for free. But for some reason, I just said to myself, I've never really had the money for a digital audio workstation. Always wanted one. Always tried to get free. What if I just spent some money and owned it? Like, forget this whole having a workstation that you have to pay a monthly fee for, or getting a free one. Because it is free, but you don't have access to all the other things that come with it. Like when you pay money for a software program, and especially with recording, all the other things that are in there that you pay for are really good things, like auto-tune. I thought I never really needed auto-tune for my voice. I thought I was spectacular singer, and I'm not bad, but it does help if you have auto-tune. So I watched a couple videos on digital audio workstations, and there was this one guy who was really, really helpful, and he broke down all the beginner digital audio workstations, and I narrowed it down to a couple. It was going to be Cubase Elements, which is what a lot of recording studio software what they do now is, like, if you have $500 or $600 sitting around to buy a recording package, great, have at it. Most of the musicians don't, especially when they first start out. So they give you a version of the big software, the $500 job, which is all the bells and whistles, and they offer you a basic version. So, like, the one I bought today was $100. It was by a company that I never heard of until I watched this guy's video. It was called Traction, like TrackTion. Traction. It's a clever word, right? You're tracking music, you're tracking, and it's traction. Clever. So it was that, or what they call Cubase Elements, which again is the small version of the big software, Cubase Elements. So I've been wrestling with this for the last 2 days, like trying to make this decision, like which software. I'm like, Cubase. And I got down to the two. I got and you know what? And I realized it's about needs. It's about what are my needs. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm not new to recording software. So there's no point in me starting out getting a software that's beginners, because I'm not a beginner. And I also don't have the budget to get the $500 software. So I had to meet in the middle there somewhere. And I was watching the workflow. And they were saying that it's real easy to use the software because everything you need is right on the same page. Then you don't have to flip between screens. And I was like, that is the one. That's the one I need. Because there's so much complication in my head and around me that I need the simplest thing that I can find. So I bought it today. I was having trouble downloading it because you have to download a download manager. And I had to sign in like 2 or 3 times. I had to jump through hoops to get there. But I did get it, and I downloaded it. I haven't tried it out yet, but it's in my computer right now. The new digital audio workstation. I bought Traction Waveform Pro Basic. So the beautiful thing about it is, where I live and where I am right now, I rent. It's not my place. I wish it was my place, because when you go out this door, there's like a little lobby, it looks like, and in a back office, and it looks like a goddamn recording studio in here. I swear to God, I wish it was mine. So, but it's not. So I bought the software that would be the most ideal for the place, which is just like a home studio thing. Is really what I'm calling it. Like it's not a professional studio, because I'm not gonna record other people. I'm only gonna record myself. And I could have got a couple different ones, but I said this looks like the one for me. And lately I've been pretty good at my decision making, like with my car and the guitars, and you got to find the thing that's right for you. So I did that last night. And then I just, one of the other reasons I came on today was because my mind is completely blown lately. Just blown. My mind was blown. I've always been a musician who kind of transplant. I started as a drummer. I ended up playing guitar. I kind of left the drums in the past. And I became a decent guitar player enough to where I did gigs. I was actually making money playing the guitar for a while on the side. Always wishing that I could just play guitar all the time and make money, but it's tough around here in the Adirondack region, because no one's just going to pay you a large amount of money just to play guitar. So you kind of have to have a day job, and you have music on the side. And there's a lot of really good musicians that have day jobs too. So like if you want to graduate to the next level where you're just a musician, you have to put out something really killer as a product that a lot of people are going to buy and promote it, or you got to find like the dream gig where, maybe you hook up with a band that's touring or whatever. Well, the problem is a lot of the landscape has changed. So a lot of us are here just like trying to get by. And it kind of bothers musicians in a way, because it burns the soul to know that like you're good and no one gives a shit, right? And this has been on my mind for like a long time, and I really just didn't know how to say it or express it. So yesterday I was combing through YouTube. I found this one music. He's a producer and a guitar player and a keyboard player, and I'm like, whoa, okay, I am too. I'm a young budding guitar player that knows quite a bit about music and guitars and recording. So I'd love to learn something from this guy. His name was Rick. I thought it was Beto, and I was like, what a great last name for somebody that's in the music business, right? Beto. But apparently that's not how you say it. It's Rick Beato, as I would learn later on. So the title of his video stream on YouTube was called What's Wrong with like Music Nowadays? Oh shit. Sorry, bird. I just sent my bird flying. I didn't mean that. And just so I don't misquote him, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up again. Oh, what? He has this. Anyways, he has this series. It's called "What Makes This Song Great," and I was like, "Oh my God, I need this so badly," because I've been thinking about pumping out more music lately and writing more songs, but I've kind of been afraid like which direction I want to go and how I would do it. I don't really like today's music. You know, I'm Generation Xer, 50 years old. I like certain music from certain eras and certain artists for certain reasons. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's some creativity put into it. That somebody decided they were going to decide that being an artist and coming up with something substantial is better than just writing something to make money. And I've always struggled with this. I think a lot of artists struggle with that. You got to put food over your head and your mouth, and you gotta have a roof over your head, and you have to make money to do that. But in order to do that, sometimes you have to do things that you don't normally do. That's called life. And there's one person that comes to mind when I think of this. I'm a big David Bowie fan, and there's a keyboard player from New York. Excellent piano player. And I because I've been playing and getting better, and because I want to go to the next level, I was thinking about taking lessons from this guy. It's $300 for a session. He's that good. And I've never really had the money until like recently. So I was thinking about taking that. And that's how he got his start. He was playing jazz in clubs, and he was amazing. Amazing. But he'd go home and be like, I got a kid, I got a wife, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills. I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm playing jazz and I'm killing it. And I can't even I can't get the kid some diapers. Something needs to change. And then he met David Bowie. He played for 30 years with David Bowie. So I'm just saying this is an example of like Bowie went on to be one of the highest, one of the grossing musicians ever. Or one of the richest ever. So, all my life, it's always been like, are you making money at it or not? And the truth of the matter is, yes, I was for a while. I was making money at it, but I wasn't making tons of money at it. So you have to decide. Do you want to sell your soul and write formulaic songs just to get noticed, to be on the radio so you can make money and live the rest of your life with no soul because you sold it? Or do you do what you want to do, like Peter Gabriel did, or where it's really artistic but maybe not that popular, or you did what Todd Rundgren did, who I absolutely love, and make art rock that people respect, but you don't make a lot of money. So you got to go play with the Cars because they're more popular. You know what I mean? That's the stuff that I've been watching over the years. It's kind of like, can a person write something that you can still keep your artistic integrity and make money at the same time? There has to be something like that. So finding this guy Rick Beato, I'm gonna say Beato, really just infused like a lot of energy into my world, because he is a little, geeky and nerdy and creative like me, and knows the difference between what's crap and what, and it's all subjective. You know, whether music is good or whether it's bad is all subjective. But my point is, here I am thinking about having a songwriting career, and I want to write possibly the best songs that I could ever write, and thinking about taking songwriting classes. And then I run into this video, this Rick Beato who is saying, you really need to watch it. The last video he did was on Memorial Day weekend, and he reminds me of me. Like, I feel like I'm a young version of him, minus, you know, the coffee coming back up that I'm drinking. He had the guitar out, and he was like, here's the old stuff. Bing bang boom bang boom boom bam. Here's the new stuff. Ding ding dang 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 dang. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, he's playing Black Hole Sun. I love that song. And now he's telling me that Soundgarden liked the Beatles, and I'm like, I didn't know that. And he tuned down. He tuned one string, the E string. He tuned it down to C sharp. And he's like, here's Black Hole Sun. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, my whole life I've been trying to learn how to play that song and can't. And there it is. There it is, right there. And I never used to think Nirvana was anything great. And as a matter of fact, I got really upset when Nirvana came into the scene, because I felt like all the hair bands were getting washed away, and I was a hairband guy, and you were gonna threaten my existence. And then he's breaking down why Kurt Cobain was a genius, and I'm going, oh my God, he really was, wasn't he? So it wasn't a coincidence that Nirvana got signed. But what he's trying to show the world and composers, that if you stick to the old formula, you're going to keep regurgitating the same thing over and over again. And immediately, like, I thought of a song that I had written about 10 years ago. And I had some of those jazzy things in it. And I just sat here, like I said before, with my mind blown, going, I was doing those things before I even saw this video. So then why isn't my stuff being recognized if it's so genius, if it's so out of the box? Why are people that aren't as good, why are they touring? Why are they popular? And he started saying stuff to me that, like, really resonated with me, like symptom of society. I'm like, that alone, it could be a topic to write about. Like, that could be a whole fucking album. Symptom of Society. That could be the name of the album. Symptom of Society. He talked about chord tones, and I'm like, I know what chord tones are. Been playing chord tones since I knew what a chord was. But then he's explaining, like, how then this and these two don't interact, and I'm like, no, they don't usually, but there's always a common one that you can transpositions, you can transpose off the note. And then he's like, oh no, wait, that's right, it does have that note. And I'm just going, this guy I need to follow from now on. Because I mean, lately I've been having all these thoughts like that maybe I should just pick one instrument. Like lately I've been playing a lot of keyboards, so maybe I should just play the keyboards and get rid of the guitars and like just keep the money from the guitars. And I can picture everybody I know going, "Why are you not playing guitar anymore?" And I don't know. It's like I'm not. I don't think I'm that great at the guitar. I think I can hold my own in a lot of areas, but I don't think I'm like a master. And then if I am a master, why? How come I? Why am I not playing? How come? How come when I play, if I'm such a master, why are why? How come when I pick up my guitar and I post on Twitch that I'm playing the guitar, if I'm so great, why aren't people flocking like the Salmon or Capistrano to see me play? And why, when I look on the music sections of Twitch and I see the word guitar and I go to see how good people are, how come there's always a 20 something playing that's really not that good, that's decent? Why is why are there like thousands of viewers watching them when I can't even get two? Why? This stuff has been bothering me. Like gnawing at my soul and my for like days. And then I see this guy Rick Beato and he's just like, it's a symptom of society. I'm like, what? Kids from the 90s is we're saying that we feel bad for kids from the 90s because their exposure to music was people all writing the same songs. And he's showing you why, and I'm like, that, and I'm looking at him going, that makes complete sense to me. Like a hit, like MacArthur Park, okay? If you haven't heard MacArthur Park, please go to YouTube after this and cue it up, okay? One of the people that I really respect as a writer, and I was just working on one of his books. It's called Tunesmith, and he breaks down like tunes and the art of writing a song. Just takes you inside and says, "This is what I do when I." He wrote MacArthur Park, so he's like, "All right, here's your word choices, here's your lyric choices, here's a rhyme, here's this, here's the turnaround." When people wrote songs, they knew the elements of a song. That there was an intro and a chorus, a verse and a chorus, and a bridge and a third verse. There was different song forms. And what this guy's saying is a lot of music today, they have one form, and that's it. And everybody takes the form, and they just put different words on it. And we're just so used to the form that we don't care as people and consumers. We don't care how it was written. There's just something about it that we like about it. And this guy Rick Beato was saying that artists care about the art. So there's always that fine line to walk between like creating something that's like completely brilliant that lasts for years, like Pink Floyd's "Comfortably Numb" or Queen's "Bohemian Rhapsody" or you know, songs that are a little bit like whoa, that are absolutely classics because somebody said, "I don't care about what's on the radio. I don't care that I'm not following the norm. I'm just doing it because I want to create some great music and just blow people's minds." And that's kind of like what I want to do. It's what I've always wanted to do. And this Rick Beato guy is like really like inspiring me, I guess you could say. Cause I'm like, he's a producer. He's a he knows a lot about theory. I really could learn from this guy, who's a guitar player and a keyboard player. So I was just like, thank God, you sent me Rick Beato today. I'm so happy. Thank you. I might even buy his book now. So he has this series called What Makes This Song Great? And I'm just like, oh my God, you kidding me, right? This is just so what I need right now, because I'm trying to figure out as a writer why I'm attracted to certain songs, and why, because I think what it really means is that's the style that I want to write in. So he started going through these Steely Dan songs, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not ready for that right now. There's chord changes that completely blow my mind, and I don't know why they work, what they do, and right now I don't want to know. And I will. I do. Eventually I'd like to graduate to that type of knowledge. But right now I just want to keep it to what I know and go from there. So I'm flipping around, and there's this. He does it. What makes this song great? Elton John, and I'm like, oh my God! All right. If you've been watching the stream, if you've been paying attention at all for the last couple of months or so, I've been playing a lot of keyboards. I've been playing Elton John, and I've been playing what I thought was the song I was playing. What I'm realizing is that I don't always learn the songs the way that they were done. In a way, that's bad for the purists. In a way, it's good because I'm doing my own rendition of it. However, I want to stick close enough to the original where I'm not changing it so much, where musicians would stop by and go, I noticed you what you do there. That's not quite right there. You're missing a note where it should be. So having said all that, here I am watching this guy break down Rocket Man. And I'm thinking of like the version that I do when I play Rocket Man. And I'm just going like, I think I need to pay more attention when I'm learning a song, because I didn't have it as good as I thought I did. And I was very grateful at the same time to have him showing me where I'm missing it. For nothing. I didn't pay this guy to analyze my chords and say, yeah, you got this one, but I don't think you got that one. So I'm just blown my mind today that I'm actually even at a point musically that I can pick out the chords almost on my own and be that close without. And I was like, how do I do that? How do I do that? And this guy's talking, and he's like, it's because it's predictable. And I realized, like, this is how I've done it my whole life. Like him. I start out with the basic and I say, here's C, E, G. And then the next one is D, F, A. That's the second. And then, I mean, I learned all this stuff in high school. EGB is the third, and the fourths, and the fifths, and I know all that, and that's kind of how I learned to play the piano in the first place. So he's breaking down Rocket Man, and he's saying that the song has a lot of inversions in it, and I'm like, yeah, it does. If I hadn't learned inversions on the piano, I wouldn't even be able to play this. So I'm just sitting there going like, this major league record producer is doing a video about chords and I can understand it. And I'm comparing it to the way I play. And at the same time, I'm sitting here like, why am I in the shadows? If I can play these chords and I can play these songs, why am I ugly? Why aren't people commenting about the way I play? If I can pick apart a song like that on my own, with no help, with a basic high school education, and get close to an Elton John song, and be able to play and sing it, I got no recognition for that. And like sometimes it bothers me. I picture people, and this is where I'm crazy. Like I picture people sitting around on YouTube going, I'd like to find somebody that can play Elton John chords like a champion. And then they might stumble on me and go, wow, look at this guy, he's playing the whole song. Well, if that Rick Beato guy was watching me, you would see, he would be like, he's not really playing that right. So now that I feel like I've been schooled, so to speak, by Rick Beato, now I have to go back to the keyboard and fix what I'm doing wrong. And they're only subtle changes. They're only subtle things. So what I'm saying is it's giving me this boost that I didn't have before, realizing that like I really am kind of gifted in music in that sense. So now I have the recording software. I got to learn a little bit more about composition from somebody, and I'm ready to start writing some songs. And the clock is ticking, you know what I mean? So I realized like in order to really record properly and get the best recording possible is I need a better interface. I'll show you. Interfaces are basically like, they look like this. This is a Behringer interface, okay? What this does is you go out of it into your computer. Like I said earlier, it turns the signal from analog to digital, right? So here's the analog signal coming from the drum machine. Oh, and it's a sampler actually, and then it goes in there. But once in a while, like it doesn't work, and I'm just like, what the hell? It could have been my sound card doing it, but sometimes I think it's that interface, and I feel like if I'm gonna go on this musical songwriting journey, like I keep talking about, I need something a little better than that. So I think somewhere in my travels, either today or tomorrow, I'm gonna go to the music store and I'm gonna buy something a little better than what I have. And and I thought of dyeing my hair too. I thought of like, I have this Just for Men stuff that I bought that would make my grays a little dark brown. I thought about doing that, and then I saw this guy Rick Beato, and it blew my mind. He's 60 something, doesn't give a shit. He's just letting the gray flag fly. And I'm just like, I feel so comfortable about this guy because I feel like I've been trying to put on some kind of image for people that isn't working. And nobody likes that in a way. They don't really. Okay, I can't say nobody. It might be a symptom of society where people like a fake version of something rather than the real, authentic version. Which brings me to my next topic. There's a guy that I played in a band with for years. We tried to write songs together. Maybe it just didn't work between us musically. We're still friends. We still talk. I wish we hung out more. We don't. But he is working on this record and thinking about going on tour. And while I'm a little jealous, I wish I was involved in it. I wasn't from the start, and I just have to wish him well. Because he's starting to get recognition for his efforts. And I'm sitting around going, I am not getting recognition for my efforts, but my efforts haven't really been that, it's been mostly effortless for the most part. So I'm realizing, like, if I just get back into it and hit it hard, I'll be a happier person. So just by downloading that software today was a step in that direction. And as I was doing that, I got people on Facebook that are talking about their past with the, they used to have alcohol or drug past and how other people should get their shit together. And I thought about that and I said, you know what? People don't get their shit together until they hit bottom. And that is a fact. And you can't cause somebody else's bottom for them. But it reminded me that I had a bottom myself 7 years ago. And while I was being ridiculous, I was always thinking about this. I was always thinking about how I would write songs more and how I would become a more relevant person on the music scene. And everybody else around me was getting it done, and I was just sitting around here like waiting for the day, so to speak. Well, what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for inspiration to strike or something. There are people that I know that used to do what I do that would do anything to be doing it right now, and they're not. And yet, I take it for granted. And I have the ability and the opportunity to do it, but yet I don't do it. See, that's like sad. That's a sin, I think. So this thing blew my mind today that this Mike Beato created that YouTube channel because he feels like I do. It's been driving me crazy for the last 10 years that, like, when you listen to the radio, you go, what is that? What happened to the good old days where, you had this or you had that? No one's tried to emulate that. If they do, they become so much of a carbon copy of that it just seems like it comes off as a carbon copy. But there really isn't a lot of music anymore that makes you just go like, oh my God. And there's not a lot of writers that are trying to fill that void. So like after watching this, it made me realize like maybe that's my purpose. Maybe that's my life's purpose. Like up until now, I've never knew really what I wanted to do. Like I've done detailing, auto detailing. I've done things that make money, but they don't really make me happy. And then the things that make me happy don't make me money. So if somehow I could find a combination of something that makes me happy and makes me money, I would just be, I'd be good. And I've always been afraid to take the leap. Except for like lately. I've been like, that's it. I don't have a lot of time left. I'm going after this. I'm going to play more. I'm going to practice more. I'm going to record more. I'm going to write more. I used to do this year after year after year. And then the year would go by and I go, shit, I didn't really meet my goals, did I? And I was like, why? Why am I not meeting my goals? And I blamed it on drinking. It had to be drinking, or it had to be smoking, or it had to be something else's problem. That was the reason. So I got rid of the drinking. I got rid of the smoking. And still, there's nothing. So, was it that? Maybe it wasn't that. And then you can blame it, oh, I got a writer's block. But then I watched this show a couple weeks ago saying there really is no such thing as writer's block. That you have to figure out what feeling you want to give to somebody and reverse engineer and start from there. I'm like, all my life I thought it was this and it was that, it was this and it was that, and you know what? I realized it was none of those things. It was just me not being disciplined and having baggage that I need to get rid of, but I didn't get rid of. And the whole point about being a creative person is to get rid of that baggage. You have to put it someplace. Why not put it into a creative endeavor? I got things that have been bugging me lately. I'm not going to keep them inside because I know what happens when I keep them inside. It's not good. So I have an outlet here. It's called The Jer Show. It's on Twitch. So if things bother me, I could go on and just talk, and just like I am now. And if somebody's watching, great. If not, whatever. But I get it out of me. I don't care. If it might be too real for somebody, I don't know. I said a lot, and I do this. I do this almost a lot. I have a cup of coffee, and I drink it, and I come on, and I just rant away and talk away, and this is what I do. I guess the problem is I'm the only one that's fucking watching it sometimes. But I record it, and I watch it back later. And I go, what did I talk about? What were the issues? What were the topics? Have they been addressed yet? Are they still lingering from the other day? I think ultimately I want to get off my own ass. Get off my ass. Get inspired. And then do things that inspire other people. I think that's really what this thing is all about. I wanted to rant about one more thing before I leave. It's what, I've been on for like an hour now, fucking just flapping my gums for an hour now. Well, I want to tell you, along those lines of symptom of society, I guess I have to remember that everything happens for a reason when I talk about this next thing. I was streaming like I am now back in January. It was probably 4 degrees outside. And I was hungry. So in my infinite wisdom, I thought maybe I would just try to go out and get some food. You know, one of the only things that I knew was open was this place in upstate New York that's called Cumberland Farms. And we're just coming out of a pandemic, but back when the pandemic was raging, this 24-hour store was closed. I didn't know this. I found out as I got in my car, hungry, trying to get some food, that it's not open. So I said, what's my next move? Should I go home? Which I now, in hindsight, I wish I would have went home. But instead, I went on the quest for food to the next place, which I thought was open, and it was not. So I turned around the block, and I went down the street and over this way, and I was stopped at a light, and I said, where can I go that might be open still? And I said, how about Price Chopper, or it's called Market 32 now. So the chances they might be open, probably slim, probably not, but I'm gonna go check it out anyways. And I was gonna go straight down this street called Sanford Street. For people from Glens Falls know Sanford Street. There's a school. And the school is a school zone. You have to drive 10 miles an hour, probably. So while I was at the light waiting, I'm like, I don't think straight's a good idea. It's gonna take me longer. I'll put my directional on. There's a cop behind me. Probably wants to know that I'm turning right. So I put the directional on, waited there for a few minutes, because there's a sign that says no turn on red, so I can't turn on red till it. And at nighttime the lights are a little bit longer in Glens Falls because the way they're timed. I made the right and I proceeded down Bay Road, and I got pulled over by the cop behind me. He said that I failed to signal 100 feet before a turn. I said, really? I wasn't turning originally. I was going to go straight. I changed my mind when we were stopped, and I ripped it off and gave it to me anyways. I'm like, wow. He's like, you know how to fill these out, send them in? I go, it's been a long time. Because the job that I had before the pandemic, I was a driver. And I only got the job because of my clean driving record, which he said you don't really see much anymore. So I drove for this place for a year. No incidents whatsoever. License has been clean the whole time. I got a ticket anyways. So I've been a little bit nervous on how I should handle this. And I realized that I called a lawyer, Rosenblum Law, out of Jersey, and they have offices right in Albany, New York, which is right down lower, right low from where they're not letting anybody in the office because of the pandemic, which as of yesterday our governor has said the restrictions are pretty much gone. They don't have to work at home. They don't have to work remotely and not let people in the office. They could actually let people in. So just when I called for the free consultation, that alone made me go, these guys are, that's kind of weird, I thought. But and then lawyers have this like stereotype about them, that they're sharks or whatever. So I figured I'd at least find out what this guy thinks about my whole. And I actually had it recorded. I don't know how much of it actually got recorded, but we talked. It was more than a 10-minute consultation. I mean, we talked and talked and talked about society's ills and the way the court systems work and how it's unfair for local people. By the time I got off that phone call with him, I was just kind of like ready to like pull my credit card out and pay this lawyer to go represent me. And then I'm like, wait a minute, whoa. If I go in myself, expect to lose, and get it dropped, I'm not going to pay a thing. If I pay $500 to have him handle his case and he gets it reduced for me, which is something I could do on my own, it costs me more money to pay the lawyer to do something that I can do myself. And I said to him, if the system is so messed up, cops could literally do this all the time if they wanted. They could just give people tickets and think that most people aren't going to fight them, that they'll just plead guilty. So the lawyer was trying to use that premise to me that I should teach that cop a lesson by spending my money that I don't have to get rid of a ticket that I shouldn't have got. Those are my options. That I'm paying somebody for something that I didn't do. And I'm like, this is disgusting. And as a songwriter, these are the things that I cannot stand in society that I would love to write a song about. Artists already have. I think it was Ice-T or Ice Cube, Ice-T put a band together, and he was talking about this stuff, like saying that like the court system can beat us if they keep us poor, if they keep making up shit. But if we all fight back together, then they can't win. I'm like, yeah. And I'm lucky. I mean, I just have a traffic ticket. That's it. But my point is, it's like I had plans for my time. And I can never get this time back again. Of talking to the lawyer, trying to decide what I want to do, going into court again. I forgot to mail my ticket in. I am going to say that. I forgot to mail my ticket in. So when that happens, they have what's called an arraignment. They just want you to show up because you didn't mail the ticket in. And they're like, if you don't show up, you're going to be in trouble because you haven't answered the claim that we put in. And me, I'm so mad that I got the claim in the first place and I was moving that I was just like, I thought by going to the arraignment that this was actually the court date. So with the help of one of my friends who's a lawyer, he said, print out your DMV statement, show that you don't have a record, that it's clean, and go in and do that. And I was like, that's great. But after I got done talking to this lawyer, he's making me feel like I should pay him $500 and we should go in together, guns blazing, and we're going to beat the system that's been keeping everybody down for years. And to me, that just filled my head with like a bunch of gaslighting shit. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not hiring this attorney. I had till today to decide. And I'm not. No. To me, it's like poker. Like, what are the pot odds, you know? If I put all my money in and then they just still gets it reduced, what the fuck is that shit? And then he's like, well, you know, if you don't do it, then I keep getting all these text messages. Like, if you don't do it, you know, you could get this and you could get that and you can get in trouble. And I'm thinking, like, you motherfucker, you're preying on my fear. I'm so worried that I'm gonna get a raw deal that I'm willing to fork over my $500 for you. And I'm like, that is not gonna happen. Worst case scenario is I go in Monday and they say, I'm sorry, we don't believe you. You're guilty. 2 points on your license. I don't think that's going to happen because they already offered me a lower deal. The problem is I'm not accepting the deal because I didn't do anything wrong. So I'm going to go in there and tell them my version of the story. And part of what the attorney said to me was there's the law as it's written, and then there's the spirit of the law. The law was intended originally to stop people from doing unsafe moves when they're changing lanes because there were accidents. Accidents are what cause laws to be written. Sometimes when these laws are written, they inadvertently punish innocent people like myself who wasn't intending to go right at first, but I changed my mind while I was at the stop. Now the NFL, years ago, the referees would make a call, that would be it. A lot of teams got screwed because there was a bad call. And then they instilled the replay cameras. So now the coach has a chance to challenge the replay. If they take a second look at it and they see that the camera shows that that certain thing happened, you can overturn the call. This is what I'm trying to do with this ticket. I'm throwing the challenge flag down against this officer Lahoyski, who decided at 1:30 in the morning with 4 degrees out, he was still going to get outside and give me a ticket for something I didn't do. I have the burden of proof of trying to prove that I didn't do anything unsafe. I can't take a camera and scan it into my head that shows me making the decision and changing my mind at the light. There's no camera footage of that. It's my word against the officer's word. And it's very hard to prove. But I don't feel like I should have to spend $500 to have somebody else prove something when they weren't there. I was there. I have no witnesses other than the cop that was behind me, who probably was just trying to do the right thing, saw me turning and said, I wonder if this guy's late on that turn. But I really wasn't because I was stopped. I wasn't going to the right. If I was going to, this is what I'm going to say in court next Monday, is that I was not turning right initially. Therefore, I didn't need to signal. It looks like I was turning right because when I got to the light, then I put it on. But it was not my intention because I was going after food. And I wanted to eat. I wanted to get it over with. I wanted the quickest route to Market 32. And I thought that by going straight, that was not going to be a good idea. But it didn't dawn on me until after I stopped. And then I made the decision after I was stopped. And that is what happened. And there ain't no camera that can prove that. And I might be going in front of a judge that sees these cops every day and goes, "Hey, buddy, how's the wife and kids?" And that they don't believe a word I say. But when I have an abstract of a driving record that says I haven't done anything in 3 or 4 years, and I have nothing, I'm pretty sure you might be able to believe me after that, right? In worst case scenario, if they still want to go through with this money grab, I can take a defensive driver course and I probably won't have points. It could be a traffic ticket and a surcharge. But I still feel like I'm not just going to lay down and die because I'm an innocent man. I'm not going to just go in and go, "Okay, yeah, here's the money." I have a right to go in there and have it challenged. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to hope for the best. If I lose, at least I can say I tried. And if I I can sleep at night after that, knowing that even though I'm paying the money and I don't like it, I didn't do anything wrong. And in a perfect world, this judge is just going to drop this. But we don't live in a perfect world. And that's why I became an artist. Because I wish the world was better. It ain't. There's nothing better than hearing a song where you agree shit ain't right. And all I can think of is there was one artist, his name's Leonard Cohen. One of his favorite songs, his song, one of the songs that everybody seems to know by him is a song called Hallelujah. That was a Leonard Cohen song. But he also has a song called Everybody Knows. Don Henley covered it. And I'm a huge Don Henley fan. So I love Don Henley's version. And it basically goes, everybody knows that the game is rigged. Everybody knows that people are cheating. Everybody knows. And the point he's trying to make is everybody seems to be okay with it too. It's like this old still have the tape somewhere. It's an old Saturday Night Live skit. And Eddie Murphy, they do this parody where they use buckwheat or somebody as like a serial killer or whatever. He killed some people and they go around the town and they're like, "Did you think the guy that killed buckwheat, do you think he did it?" And they're all like, "Oh yeah, that's all he ever talked about. Yeah, I'm gonna go kill buckwheat. He even said I'm gonna go kill buckwheat." And it's like, what they're trying to show is that, like, as a society, we could be ignorant. Like the signs could be there that something's gonna happen, and everyone's just like, "It's all right. It's easier for me to do nothing than to do something." So the lawyer he goes on to say that the one thing that cops do or don't do nowadays is there's a lag between the security camera or the dashboard camera and what actually happens at a stop. And this is what it means. He said when if he goes by a cop, I'm not going to mention the guy's name. If he goes by a cop and he knows he's speeding, let's say he's doing a 70 and a 55, and he sees the cop come, he knows that cop's going to pull him over, he will pull over. Now the cop has the dash cam on and will say, why did you pull over? He said, I figured you were going to pull me over. I just save you the trouble. And the reason he did that, the reason he does that, is because of the lag in the dash camera. Sometimes cops will not turn it on until they get to the stop. And then they'll turn it on. Because what happens is when you go to court and you go to fight that cop and they have their dash cam, they've just turned off the evidence that you were speeding at all. Or that they chased you. And when they decide to pull you over or not, it's based on how you react at that stop. So if they don't have the camera on and they pull up to you and they're like, oh, you know, hey, I'm sorry, I'm complying. It's not on camera. The only times that people are getting in trouble now is because the cops now have the cameras. And they're the ones that are fighting to have the cameras when they shouldn't be. If they're not doing anything wrong, they don't need the camera. Hello? that was my dad that called, my father. I think this Sunday's Father's Day, the 20th, so I hope your dad's still around, but if he's not, don't forget about him. I got my dad some gifts, but I can't tell you what they are because he might see this stream and it'll give the gifts away, and I don't want to do that. Don't want to do it. I want to talk about that Rick Beato guy again. He just blew my mind completely today. He was saying that he was comparing music and songs to cereal, which I thought was pretty profound. Oh God, I gotta go again. going to like that I don't want to write like. So what if I'd be mad if I spent money? It didn't teach me something that was more creative. You know what I mean? Like this song. No, I still could. I need to get another cable. And then Val sent me this picture of something from Steve Caparizzo's Pet Connection or something. They're giving him trying to rehome and I'm just like, whoa. Keeping up that one. Thinking about getting I could take one, but I can't get five. So anyways, this guy's just kind of blew my mind because he's just talking about all this stuff. He's like, virtuosos don't really exist like they used to. If you played really well, because some of these virtuosos don't have any gigs. And I'm just like, that's what I'm talking about. He said it's a symptom of society. Like, I love that word. You can do a whole album. It sounds like a song name. So what else is going on? I really didn't pressure wash. It was raining yesterday. Yeah, I saw some of those videos that Justin was trying to make where he was. He didn't have the greatest internet connection, like he kept cutting in and out. Yeah, I got a little hot on it. I ended up going to Home Depot, and they have this little tiny cube thing. It's supposed to cool the air and the spaces, and I was like, yeah, let me give it a try. Yeah, it's got a little fan, and it works almost like a humidifier or like a air purifier. Cold air. So kind of cool in the next room. So I let it like the air will come through the bottom of the door, kind of cooler, and then this thing scoops up the cold air and blows it out and makes that in line so that like it keeps blowing the cold air around, and it ain't too bad anyhow. Yeah, that's why I posted that. I posted something on Facebook yesterday. This guy house is a guy that I really like. My age, we're like a month apart, so we grew up in the same era, you know, as far as music and whatnot. And he's like talk show. So ever since the pandemic, he said he pulled over on the side of the road because he knew that this was going to be really, really, really bad. And he devoted like the rest of his time when he was locked down to kind of and try to make people walk. So he takes all these Trump rallies, he takes, and he'll let Trump talk for a little while, and then stop it, and then he'll like tell you what it really means. And sometimes it's funny as shit. He did one. He does it with Rudy Giuliani too. Like he did one the other night where Trump thinks the king of New York that he used to be, but half the people don't want him there anymore. And the only people that really he hangs out in Mar-a-Lago because he thinks that he loves a crowd that adores him. So it's like you can feel like everybody there is like, oh, Trump, Trump, Trump. But like the reality is like his popularity is going way down. Even with a lot of Trump supporters, still pushing that little big lie about how the election is rigged, and it's like, just shut the fuck up, bud. You got trounced by Biden. Fucking wasn't even close. Well, he doesn't like to lose, so that would mean he lost. That's probably the only thing keeping him alive is the fact that he still thinks he won. He's probably gonna be in deep shit. I only watch him anymore his nickname is Don the Con.